I'm gonna go ahead and check mine now. But anyways,
Here we are.
good stuff. We are,
I thought I wouldn't be done with twisting my hair before we went live, but
and it's
God
cute.
is good.
It's
Thank
too
you.
cute.
I finally
I
got
love
it
it.
colored. I haven't had it colored since January, and I'm a little nervous because,
Hmm.
this blonde is it's tricky. I'm afraid that my hair's starting to just like every time I run my fingers through it, I get like 10 strands.
It
I'm like, is
looks
this
cute.
normal?
Yes, it's normal. Hey
Is it?
there,
Oh my
Ryan.
gosh.
Ryan, how's work?
Looks like I'm live on my Facebook, just FYI.
Yeah,
Dana
mine
Thomas
is
is joined us
live.
on
I see
Facebook too.
mine. Everybody's good.
Yeah.
Dr. Venus, you can share.
Yeah.
And listeners, I know that you guys are coming in. If you are watching us live right now, please like and share. We want everybody to chime in on this conversation. I think both topics we can totally, I think everybody can have some experience with. Let's see who's in the chat. Damon. Damon, I heard from a little bird that you're coming in this weekend.
Whoop, whoop.
So we
Yep.
can't wait to see you. We're going to take you out and show you a good time here in Miami. Elisa Brown, good evening. Hi, everybody. All right, all
Hello,
right.
hello.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Shonda will be joining us. We're having some technical difficulties and she had to log off, but she will be back, trust me, if God is willing. But with that being said, Ryan, how is school? You're back at work?
Yeah, I heard you ask me that. Yeah. I'm back at work today. I had COVID end of last week, tested positive PCR. So
Again?
yeah,
Now,
again,
wait
right?
a minute.
Yeah, again, got COVID again. Well, I think I got it from Epcot. I'm guessing I got it from Epcot the Friday before, and it took about 5 days for me to actually feel anything at all. But the day before I had 4 classes, I was a little bit suspect. So I was like, I could probably push through it, but if I am contagious, so I canceled my classes on Thursday, got the test back on Thursday. Thursday was kind of rough, but by Friday I was already feeling a little better. By Sunday I was Gucci. Like I'm good. I got the little sinus thing, which is always lingers a little bit fatigued, a little bit kind of groggy. Happens when you're knocked out for about 48 hours, I think. So might not be the sharpest tonight, which is unfortunate because I have obviously a lot of stuff to share, but I'll do my best. But I'm good, man. I'm as good as I think I could be considering second time. So
And how dare you not tell the girls that you're
I did, didn't I?
No.
Oh, no, I met with Shonda about her event on Saturday. I let her know, and then I talked about it. I shared there. I thought I might have, I guess I didn't hear from you or talk to you guys in the chat or whatever. But yeah, I felt like I would be good. By the time I thought about you all, I thought I'm already feeling better. So I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Glad you're feeling better.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Cindy, how's California?
California's great. I'm still here. I'm going to just soak it up until I got to go back on tour.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it very much. My
Oh,
dad was here last week.
What? That's
So
awesome.
it was his first trip out here, so we had a great time. We saw a lot of music. We hit the studio, and he was hanging out with me during a writing session. It's always so fun.
I saw the video of you guys. So what was that climb that you guys
So
went
that
on?
staircase is the Baldwin Hills scenic overlook.
Mhm.
And basically it's just a tall, it's like a few stories high. It's a tall ass hill. And it can humble anybody. It's humbled me a couple of times. And my dad, it was his first time doing it at 72, and he went up there as fast as I did.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was very surprised at his pace.
Daddy's a soccer coach. Like, why are you surprised?
Not once, but twice. But 72, you know what I mean? He rides his bike every day. He runs miles every day over at Franjo Park. He does not play games.
Absolutely. And you guys notice we have a special guest. Hey, Dr. Venus Miller, with all your acronyms. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Look at everybody. They're jumping in saying hello to you. We miss you so much.
Aww.
Hey, TK and Professor. You listen, Sarah's going to be there every Sunday. And guys, just in case if you're logging on now, Shonda should be joining us. She had to log out and her computer is updating, but she will be with us momentarily. But until then, let's get this party started. Here we go, everybody. Talk Miami podcast and talk show. I am your girl, TK Owens, and I have the pleasure of being your host tonight. Let's go around the room, and hopefully maybe Shonda will be back with us, but if not, like they say, the show must go on. So to the lady with the orange background, grab it.
Hey, everybody, it's your favorite girl, Cindy Winters, singer, songwriter, actress, and Broadway star, here with a little bit of self care today. I just did my wash day, twisted my hair, and I'm ready just to snuggle in and get to these conversations on Talk Miami. And I'm going to pass it down to the brother in the black shirt, representing the male population.
The men population.
Thank you. Right. Thank you, Cindy. I see Shonda's joining us. Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday to everybody. Ryan David, personal leadership, professional lifestyle coach, psychology professor. A little too much salt in my pepper today. Haven't really got a chance to tend to my personal care just yet, but really glad to see we have a guest that we haven't seen in quite some time. We've been thinking about her. Yes. Dr. Venus, welcome back. Tell everybody who you are.
Hey. My name is Dr. Venus Miller. I call myself the real Psych MP. Got some issues? I need you to come see me. That's about it.
Yes. And look at Shonda.
Hey, she looks like
she's gonna make it under any means necessary. Okay. We gave them an update that you had to log out of your computer and it's updating. Cindy's trying to tell you to turn it, I guess, maybe, what is that? Horizontal. But if not,
she probably can't do it.
Bam, there we go.
You gotta adjust everything now, Shonda.
That's all right. We're gonna
go. There we go. If I do that, I gotta hold it and it's so ghetto. Yeah. I'm not doing it.
But we see you. It looks good.
Okay, but my laptop just came on, so y'all go ahead. I'm getting it together.
Cindy,
hey, y'all, this is Dr. Shonda Roberts.
That's okay. I didn't get
Shonda Roberts.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Shonda Roberts. Bye. Okay, Cindy and Ryan, I didn't get a chance to tell you. Cindy, can you be on comments tonight? Go ahead. I see a lot of people are joining. Let's do some shout outs.
What's up, Talk Miami fam? Hit us up in the chat and let us know where you're coming from. Oh, Damon Thomas, Hiller, Alyssa Brown, Becky Bradford, Sarah Santana, Casey Craig, always faithful, Katrina and Ryan Massman. Yeah. Oh, cousin Evelyn Faison, hello. And Kim Miller, how you doing?
Yes, good evening. We got some new people tonight. I'm so excited.
Yes.
So, guys, and I hope Shonda comes back for this because we're going to jump like right into it. And first of all, no, let me back up because she deserves more of a introduction. Is that the one and only Dr. Venus Miller? Like, seriously, you are not a special guest. You are family. And let me tell you, I hope everyone that is listening tonight, if you ever need any advice, just some positive affirmation, please reach out to her. I'll make sure she shares all of her contact information, but she is here to help us tonight because it's time to heal. Normally our slogan is it's time to talk, which we're going to have some real talk with Ryan David later on throughout the show. But then we're also going to save some time because it's time for a lot of us to heal. And we'll get to that part. And speaking of healing, let's just jump right into topic number one, because of course it was all over social media that broke out the actual cheating scandal, you would say. And I hope I don't butcher his name, but Coach Ime Udoka from Boston Celtics professional basketball team. It broke out last week that he was in the middle of a cheating scandal with his celebrity wife, Nia Long. And we all know Nia. She is like the sex symbol that every man wish they had. She is iconic. She has been in this business for years and such a beautiful soul. Someone that has never been in the media due to negativity or just drama. Such a good person and good mother from what we know, right? And the key word tonight, I want to make sure that we all know the buzzword, and that buzzword is going to be allegedly. Because don't come for me unless I send for you. I'm only going to report on what I know. But the only two people that really know what goes on in this marriage is Nia and Ime himself. Because we are not there in their home to see what marriages go through. But first question with topic number one is, why do men cheat? And let me explain something, because I had some people reaching out to me like, but TK, women cheat too. Listen,
we're talking about the men's tonight.
Listen, that's what I said, Shonda. I said women cheat, dogs cheat, everybody cheat. But who I'm talking about tonight is because of men. And this steers from the actual, drama that came out with him and Nia Long. And in that same week, we had Mr. Adam Levine himself from Maroon 5, allegedly, his side mistress came out and said that his pregnant woman, who he's married to, a Victoria's Secret model that every woman will probably want to be one day, she's pregnant. But Adam reached out to his side chick and wanted to get her permission to name his child after the side woman. Allegedly, that's that key word. So it was just, I was going, wait a minute. He's with a Victoria's Secret model. How beautiful. He's married to Nia Long. How you cheat on Nia Long? So that's the reason why we're talking about men tonight. What is it about men that you can have everything at home to hopefully take care of your needs, the looks, the care, the mom, everything. But what makes you still go out and cheat and jeopardize that? That's going to be my first question. Cindy, I see you raising your hand. You want to jump in?
I just want to showcase Ryan Massman's comment.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you the only answer for this topic because they are
They're
dumb.
dumb.
Cheating is for losers. Thanks, Ryan.
Come on, Ryan. Speak,
Thank
Ryan.
you for making it direct and plain and just spot on.
And I literally was reading the comments and everybody was like, well, why? When you get somebody like a Nia Long, how can you mess that up? And then somebody even posted this. They said, okay, Janet was cheated on. Beyonce was cheated on. Holly Berry was cheated on. Now Nia, ladies,
There's
can't
so
win.
many more that we don't know about.
Yeah,
We
I got a
can't
couple
win.
bad
But
for
this goes to show you that it's
You need
not
to ask
about
Shauna on
looks.
that, honey, because what makes you think you could cheat on me?
Come
They
on now.
what? They put their drawers on one leg at a time, just like I do. And
It
what?
goes to show
Okay.
you that it
And my
doesn't
butt
matter
real.
how pretty
Period.
you are. So, Cindy,
Yeah.
just to answer topic number one, why do you think, and I know we're not men, and we can't wait for this question to go over to Ryan, but having all that he has, why do you think men cheat when they have a good woman at home?
Geez. I think it's a collector's thing. Like men feel like they can cheat or just not tell the truth about what they're doing because they can. And it's an ego thing. It's like it has nothing to do with the person. It has nothing to do with the other person. 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with how beautiful they are, how kind they are, how nasty they are. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the male ego.
Ryan, I'm gonna save you for last.
Please,
so
because
Shonda,
he gonna
because
Those
I
are my
already know he gonna
those are
pull
my
out
2
the
cents.
whole Bible.
I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna keep my answers short and sweet because we have Dr. Venus with us,
Yes.
and so I'm gonna keep my answer short and sweet. Boom, that was it.
So, Shonda, what does it matter that you have a beautiful woman who's a good woman at home? Why do you think men still cheat, knowing that they have?
I want to first say hello to everyone since I got on a little late, especially my good friend Alex Rivera is on tonight and he's chiming in. Thank you so much for coming on. But I don't have an answer for that. But I agree with Cindy. I think that a lot of times it's something that they're dealing with. It has nothing to do with. Well, let me take that back. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second. It may or may not have anything to do with the situation at home. However, I will not say that anyone can make someone cheat, but I will say there may be situations that may cause someone to use that excuse to go cheat. But there's never a good reason to cheat, because if you're unhappy, if you're not being fulfilled, then you need to tell that person at exit stage left. There's never a reason to say, well, I felt like you weren't giving me attention, or I felt like you worked too much, or I felt like you were anything to me that I felt that wasn't necessary or I didn't deserve. that doesn't give you room to go and cheat. It gives you room to open up the door for conversation to say, I'm not happy. This needs
Mm,
to change or I'm leaving. It does not mean, okay, you don't want to talk to me now. You don't want to give me any tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and over here and go have sex with whoever, Billy Bob Thornton or somebody. But I was watching, I was watching the show last night, and one of the women said, she said something. What one thing I hate, if you don't have sex with him, somebody else will. That is the most asinine comment that a woman can make. Because if a man wants to cheat, a woman wants to cheat, they're gonna cheat, regardless of what. What I give it to him every day of the week, I give it to him every minute of the day, or if I don't give it to him at all. If he wants or she wants to cheat, they're gonna cheat. So I can't stand comments like that. But I just think that people use an excuse of they're not happy in the relationship, and but there's no ever a good reason to cheat. You just speak about it and leave, or
right.
speak about it and fix it.
Well, there's a couple before I head over to you, Dr. Miller. There's a couple people in the chat that's giving
Look
their
at Daria. Come on, Daria.
come on, I wanted to bring up my daughter, and she understands because that's what my answer is, and I'm gonna give my answer at the end because, of course, my question, my as a host, I wanted to ask the questions, but I will sum it up at the end. It's temptation, and can you? Everybody's gonna be tempted, but you should know your commitment not to follow through into that temptation. So thank you, Daria. My cousin Evelyn says just some people love the attention, which is true. And then Sarah, of course, she said it was done because that is what they wanted to do. So much true. That's very true. And let's see here. They also said, preach, Shonda. So, Dr. Miller, I want to turn this over to you because we're going to
That's my
save
baby
Ryan
mama.
for last because he speaks from a male point of view. One thing that my father taught me, my dad used to teach me all the time about how men think so that I can know how to move because I'm not a man. And women, we are here tonight to listen to what Ryan will have to say from a male's point of view. But before we head over to Ryan, Dr. Miller, what is your answer to the question?
Queen
Why
bee.
do you think men cheat knowing that they have everything that they asked for? You asked for it, then you have it. And then why did you still go out and cheat?
Well, that's a loaded question with a multiplicity of answers, depending on who you're dealing with, who you're speaking to. You're talking about age, you're talking about sex, you're talking about immaturity, you're talking about excitement, you're talking about choice, you're talking about availability,
I
you're
love
talking
this woman
about
so much. God, I love you, Dr. Venus.
you're
You're
talking
my
about
favorite person.
you talk about attention, you talk about power, you talk about what they've learned, what they've unlearned, what is sex to them, what is love to them. And you said when a man asks for what they want, God dog it. No, I don't think that everybody any would ever always know what he
Knows what
wants,
they want in the first
but
place.
they are evolving. And when I talk about the maturity of a man, you meet a man at 16, excuse my expression, we just hunching. That's all we're doing. Like two cats and two dogs, no familiarity goes with it. If you take on the man at different stages of his life, and then there's a part of a man that he is mature, but he's not ready to settle down. It's sometimes it's the pressure of the woman, the impression of a man, what I should do, what is right, and then what is right in his mind. And men evolve as well as women evolve. The mindset, I will tell you, of all things is where we are. It's not having a good woman. It's not even that they look good. It's not even about the sex most of the time. It's about attention, what makes the man feels good. So that question is loaded in what aspect of life you are in. If I would be so blatant, I have cheated and been cheated on. And both of those times were devastated in a little bit of ways. Why did I cheat and why was I cheated on? Depends on where I was in my mindset. Why I allowed the cheating, why I did the cheating, what kind of man I chose, what I am accepting, not accepting. So when I say it's a loaded question, I will never know what a man is thinking no more than he know what I'm thinking because we change like the wind. A man's mindset is not like a woman's mindset. A man has a different view, a different way he presents himself and what excites him. They can see through your clothes without seeing through your clothes. A woman, if you get in my mind, I'm opening my legs. It just depends on what you're dealing with the man. So I would have to tell you, it is a loaded question. It deals with what you're dealing with. It deals with the time you're dealing with, the hurt you're in. There's a multiplicity of things. But the only way I can tell you is that if you're going to know why men cheat, there is no answer. Because it's not in the beauty of the woman. It's not even what's in between her legs, really, because things get dull. Will that man have the maturity to say, I'm just going to look at it and not touch it? Do they have the ability and the strength to do that? You can do everything you need to do for a man and a woman. It's not always that what is the woman, is where that person maturity is, and if they have come to that place in their life where they now decide to make a choice past their flesh, and that's when we're talking about another level. I'm gonna release it to
Drop the mic. Exit left. Just drop the mic. We just gonna end the show. No, but okay. I gotta play devil's advocate, Dr. Venus, before I head over to Ryan. Well, then what's the point of getting married if you want to be that way and you still are tempted? And you are, to me, that is, everybody is tempted. We all have options. I have people sliding in my DMs. What's the point of making a commitment that you can't stick with?
All the host of benefits that come with the commitment and the sacrifice.
You have to understand too. You said, what's the use of getting married? When I first got married, I didn't know I had to cook that many times, and I didn't know I needed that many days, and I didn't know I have to raise these children. I got to cook, clean, bend over, then stand up, and that you don't. When we get married, think about the fairy tale. Think about what it all is. Before you start dropping children, before he start dropping to sleep, and you too. So
come on, Doc.
We like to put this thing on marriage. It's not about marriage. It's commitment and maturity, because a marriage is, I didn't get married even to cheat on you, but I didn't know when I married you, you were somebody else that evolved in the marriage. So I can't make it as blank as that. True. Why get married? But most people don't get married to cheat. They get married and get into marriage by 3 months in, like, no, this is not what I want to do. And because of stigma, because of society, because I am the man, I got to watch over my kids, because if I leave them and have an unhappy person, he cheating on you anyway, because a person not all into you, you already cheated on. Cheating ain't about sex. Cheating about being there in the good and bad times with us. I think that we just get married. I know I did. I love the fact of marriage, and I'm walking and everybody see me for one day, but they ain't coming home with me. Brother, we need to have another wedding every day because we're going to have a problem. So it is, I think, the maturity of two people when they're married. It's not, I got married, I'm having sex, well, I get married anyway. Because when you're in a relationship, that junk is evolving. Things are evolving. People are changing. Accidents can happen. So it's not just that. We put things together in cliche, I believe, that don't go together. Just because my mama said it don't make her right. So no, I didn't get married to get divorced. But marriage is more than just sex. Marriage is more than communication. It is commitment. It is mindset. And that junk is work every day. No, you got to decide if that's what you want to do. So those two don't go together to me. I didn't get married to get divorced, but I can get married and divorced within 30 days. I won't tell y'all my testimony too much, because I thought of something that was going to be something that is not. Okay, so we have to, first of all, we need to speak right. Marriage and saying someone, oh, then why you married her? First of all, I know we see the picture on Facebook, but don't nobody go home with the crew but the crew.
Amen.
I know what it look like. She could be you could be the finest woman in the world. To public, I served you well. Everything's nice, but you don't go home with a nasty person. Just because we look a certain way on Facebook, don't count the brother out. I'm not counting in or out. What I'm saying is, if you are in the house with them, you can tell them about their marriage. We see Facebook, and that's where we fail, because that is not a relationship. What you see, all you see is the picture, and you know doggone well. I'm gonna leave you with this, Charlotte. When we take pictures, how many we take before we say, "Oh, that one look good"? So I guarantee you, before they came out of the house, they didn't look good. Before they took 10, 20 pictures, you had to have your butt right, the belt right, pull up this, my hair right, oh, my nipple showing, all kind of stuff. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in relationship, right?
I do that too, for the record, so it ain't just y'all.
Come on, it's the same thing in relationship.
You want to put the best foot forward. Yeah.
I want my kids to look good. We ride in the car this time. Let me go ahead, because it's all about a show. And until we talk real about that, we're going to keep showing up in these lies. We're going to keep on getting confused. Marriage is not this thing we have in marriage is work. And we are the ones that put the pressure on the man to perform. And that's more pressure, and he fails. He will go with a woman in a little bitty house with a big old butt, cross-eyed for some peace, and that is the problem.
Amen.
Whoa. So Ryan, with that being said, ladies, this is the time that we chime in. Let's listen.
I drink to that.
Listen, we will all drink to that. Ryan, you are the only male that is on this show. You are the only man that can probably tell us how Ryan sees things. I do know you could tell us that. But maybe, can you just give us some advice for women of why maybe a man like Coach Ime Udoka stepped out on his marriage?
So I'm not abreast to all of what's taking place with that particular social situation, but the advice I can give you goes back to what you already hit on, TK. I'll get back to that one, and it really had to do with looks. But I want to just back up a minute before I say anything at all. I do speak as a man, but I don't speak for all men. I've studied people for a long time from a psychological standpoint. So I do have some many hours and thousands of people in a lab that I've looked at and found some patterns. So I can give you that. I've heard from and seen different behaviors in different contexts, like Dr. Miller was talking about, in different times of people's lives, during different situations in their lives. So I found some themes and some patterns, and I'll end with the patterns that I was referring to. But in terms of the original question, which was why do men cheat, I think was your original question. And then you followed up, or the second part of that was when they have everything as far as a good woman at home. A couple of false premises and a few faulty assumptions on the part of that question. Like Dr. Bill said, it was loaded. The first assumption is that it is all good at home. The first assumption is that is a good woman at home and that family life is all good. We make that assumption. We don't know what it is, not justifying the actions, just saying that's a false assumption in the first place. We don't know what's going on at home. The second assumption is that all men cheat for the same reason, as if myself or Dr. Miller or we could come up with or talk to and get one answer for all women out there to know, hey, this is why men cheat. It's not going to happen. Dr. Miller already addressed that. There's multiple reasons why. I think what you're looking for is some insight into more specifically, why maybe men tend to conduct themselves in this way in terms of being unfaithful versus why women do. The answer I have for that actually speaks to both men and women. It speaks to people. So, and it has to do with human needs. Before I get to that, I just want to say that there's also this, I'll back up a minute and talk to you what you said, TK. And you actually, like I said, you hit it, you said it, and it was good. It was the emphasis on looks and the emphasis on attraction and the emphasis on sex. And one of the biggest mistakes I think that people make, and I think a lot of the times it's women that make this mistake, and it might be because of the fact that men seem to be more visual creatures and they seem to be more attracted in terms of visual looks, and looks seem to be such a priority that we do the mistake of emphasizing and prioritizing looks and beauty. And you put the slides up yourself, and it goes to show you that, like you said, TK, it really doesn't matter. There you go. You can add Shakira to that list, and the list goes on. All of the, quote, queens and the sex symbols and the goddesses, you pick them. There's a favorite quote of mine. It says, show me a beautiful woman, I'll show you a man that's tired of sleeping with her. Love that quote. What that means is I don't care how attractive you are. I don't care how sexy you are. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care what your physical features are. That's going to get old. And that comes down to the basic, really, premise of we habituate to pleasure. So I don't care about how attractive someone is initially. That's going to fade if that's all you have. And ladies out there, if you think that you need to be attractive and sexy and beautiful to win a man over and keep a man, you got the first part right. You definitely need that to win him over. But the second part, they're lying to you. You're not going to keep a man off looks alone. It's not going to happen. All right. And it same goes for women, by the way. We can flip this around just because it's not as much of a priority or an emphasis. We will habituate to pleasure. If there is something that is pleasurable for us, whether it's visual, auditory, taste, it doesn't matter. We will habituate to it. We will get used to it. So I don't care how beautiful she is. You ask, how could that ever happen? I'm in a group chat with my boys. We've done this before when Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Two of my boys was like, how in the hell? I said, dog, bro, you're not thinking about this from a different perspective here. Like, it doesn't matter what we think she looks like. We've never had her. You've never had Beyonce. I said, bro, I put you in the same situation with Beyonce 6 months in. If there's something else that you're not fulfilled by or about with Beyonce, you're going to stray. And you might not even stray from a physical standpoint. It might be an intellectual conversation that gets your attention from another woman who's not as attractive. You think, how could you ever do that? How could you treat on a more beautiful woman with a less beautiful woman? Because beauty ain't the priority in that situation. So like Dr. Venus Miller said, there are so many facets and layers to why we stray away from the person that we're with, or we can, and we do, and we have, and we could stray. I want to bring it back to an answer that I can give you, and it's not specific to men. Now, I can give you some specific differences that deal with men versus women inside of this answer, but the answer has to do with, the bottom line is that it comes down to human needs. We all have human needs. Now, there's 6 human needs according to human needs psychology, and 2 of those human needs are significance and connection, and they're actually opposite needs. Significance is, it's about me. I want to feel special, unique, and significant as an individual. Connection is, I want to feel connected and a part of something with other people or with someone else. The challenge is, the more significant you feel, the less connected you feel, the more disconnected you feel. And the more connected and oneness you have with somebody, the less you remember and the more you forget who you are as an individual, because now it's about us and it's about we. Those are just 2 of the 6 human needs. The bottom line is, we have a drive. we have a need, not a desire, not a want, a need to fulfill these. And we will do that whether we realize it or not. And sometimes Dr. Miller really just laid it out perfectly. There are different things that we have that we desire. One, not many people understand and know that they have these needs. Two, they don't know what they want necessarily, and they think they want something, but it's really to fulfill a need they're not even aware of. And so we seek out things, and you might end up in a relationship, an extramarital affair with somebody, and you're close to them and you're connected with them, and you don't know how in the hell you got as close to them as you did. And it's because, well, I look up and I think about what's at home, and you can do this for men or women, by the way, TK, and I could expose some personal things here because I know a lot about why women cheat, because I've had conversations with women who are cheating on their good man at home, which this is the flip side of that. You find yourself in a situation being unfaithful in a relationship, an extramarital affair, or just not even if you're married, and you're getting close to somebody and you can't figure out why you would ever sacrifice what you have at home. And then the more you talk to somebody or the more you work through this, or if you go and work through everything, you start to realize, wow, there was a need that I had that I didn't even realize I had, and this person fulfilled it. The mistake that we make is we think that it's always sexual. This mistake that people cheat to have sex, and that's the only reason why they cheat. That's a big misconception. Sex is a vehicle for connection, generally speaking. Now, there are people who seek pleasure, and that's the only thing that they're seeking. Yes, that happens. But generally speaking, especially for women, sex is a vehicle for connection, believe it or not. Now, for men, it can be as well. But this idea that people are cheating and they're cheating to have sex, no, they're cheating and sex is a part of their relationship that they're cheating in because, well, it brings you closer, generally speaking. And so if you're already close to somebody emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, well, of course, I'm going to feel connected to you now sexually as well, even if that wasn't how it started. So I hope, if nothing else, from what I'm saying and what from Dr. Venus Miller said, is the complexities as to why are vast. So just understand there's no one answer. There's no stereotypical, this is why men do it, this is why women do it, and that's all you need to know. That's not the case. As far as the human needs are concerned, there are different flavors, if you will, and ways in which we satisfy those needs or we look for them. You talked about ego earlier. That's the significance. I want to feel special. So that could come from attention. And this isn't just a coach doing it to abuse his power with maybe, say, an executive or an intern or whatever it is. It's ladies on Instagram that are doing it to feel the attention and the significance from the DMs or from the likes. Now, that's not a sexual thing per se, but it's still satisfying that same need for significance. And there's also women that will also be masking their need for connection. It's actually going to bleed into a little bit of Real Talk with Ryan David today. But there's actually women who will try to mask something that they're missing, and they'll do it through connection, and it'll be in a physical form when it's really something that they're lacking emotionally. So there's so many complexities to why people are unfaithful. There's levels to it. Again, I'm not familiar with the situation with the coach in depth. Again, I got that from the group chat with my boys. Posted it. I read an article or two. Apparently, there's more information coming out, but it was a man who was in a relationship with a well-known, attractive, pretty seemingly cool chick, Nia Long, and there was a relationship, and that begs the question, well, why would anybody in that situation ever do that when it's seemingly they have everything at home? Well, the short answer is clearly everything wasn't at home that at least that person needed, or that person didn't even know that they needed, and they strayed away. Now, that's not to make excuses, and that's not to dismiss the idea
of
that
the mistake.
sometimes people just
But
make
it is what it is. If that's what it is, that's what it is.
right. But sometimes people do make a decision that is completely selfish in nature in that moment. And in doing that and acting on that, they compromise and they sacrifice their commitment and their relationship with the other person. And that's just a bad judge of character, a bad character trait. And so that's just bad judgment on their part. So many reasons and explanations as to why things can happen the way that they do. But Dr. Miller said it, you have to look at the person, where they are, and all the variables that are going on in place. And everything that you all said tonight is true. Yeah. Everything you said can be applied at some point in some place. So that's really what I take as far as like misconceptions and misunderstandings and simplifications. Ryan in the chat gave you the simple answer, because they're dumb. And by dumb, meaning they're sacrificing something that seemingly is good. But I have a more complex answer. If you have a follow-up question or comment, TK, go ahead.
I do. I want to bring up actually now the backstory before we head into our last topic, is that Dr. Shonda actually brought this up last week, is not believing everything that you see on social media. Because what first happened with this news is when the cheating scandal came out.
Look, y'all don't found the lady. Look at you,
Exactly. Listen,
He
TK,
was
TK
bearing
gonna
his
do her
mask right.
research.
None of this would happen, right?
Do
He
you
was wearing his damn
understand?
mask the right way, properly,
Right.
and not over his chin. I mean, look at what we have going on here.
And I'm gonna tell you what
Playing.
happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened. And once I was like, now wait a minute. And Cindy, you and I talked about this. So some of you guys may not know. Cindy was an NBA dancer for the New York Knicks. I was a NBA dancer for the Miami Heat. We live this NBA life. We have seen what goes on behind the scenes. So when you're fraternizing with the staff, they've been doing it for years. So I said to myself, how did this get all the way to the top that they suspended this man? This isn't business. This is personal. So TK did her research, and I just want to give y'all, you'll see why. You will see why this took place. Well, when the story first broke out, they first said that it was this young lady, Allison Feaster, and she is the VP of, I believe, operations. Let me make sure I get her title right. She's the VP of player and organizational development. And the reason why they thought it was her, one, she's attractive. Two, it's because she is the only female staff member for Boston Celtics. So the rumor is that he was allegedly, that word again, allegedly seeing a staff member. So they just assume it was her. Poor thing. It went all over the universe. She was getting hate mail, looked at, saying that she was the home wrecker. All the time, it wasn't her. I'm here to tell you guys who he was actually allegedly sleeping with. This is Kathleen Lynch. And let me tell you why every day this goes on in NBA, but why did this get all the way to the top?
Well,
it's because this young lady, Mrs. Lynch, is married to the VP of finance of the Boston Celtics. Baby, you don't sleep with this man's wife who pays your paycheck. So that's
why he got suspended.
Oh. So that's how it got to the top. That's how the investigation started, because this has been going on for years. But then I knew something. This is personal. He slept with this man's wife, and he's the VP of finance who cut your check. And one thing my daddy taught me is that you don't shit where you where you work. I sure did.
So she does or does not work there.
So let me tell you, y'all, it even gets better.
Well, because TK, real quick, before you explain that, I want to ask you, TK, the article that I read said that it was the lady who was in charge of staffing his or in charge of
his
traveling.
That's her. So I didn't get that part.
Okay.
So thank you,
and it
Ryan.
was a ring doorbell that caught the conversation or something.
So this is
Ryan.
her. She is the actual planned. She does all of the travel planning for the team and the coach. And y'all check this part out. Here go all the juice. She even communicates with Nia because she takes care of all her travel arrangements and even moved her and her son to Boston 2 weeks ago. It's always the one. Ladies, let me, this is where I come in. Ladies, let me tell you something. This is not what I heard. This is what I know. It's never too far. Listen, God gave us something called intuition. That woman, it is somebody that is right up underneath your nose. That woman had the nerve to sit up there and do all her travel arrangements, knowing she was sleeping with that man's husband.
Hugging on her and everything, probably.
When you get your intuition,
ladies, though, is it?
Say that again, Ryan.
That's no surprise to you, ladies, though, is it? Y'all are women. You talk to women, you see how women move. Y'all know more than I do how scandalous and how cutthroat women are. That lady don't give a shit about no Nia Long.
She didn't care, not one bit.
Right? We can put this on
women.
him.
I'm here to tell you
on his part. That's terrible.
Women. I'm here to tell you.
But it takes
we are born with an intuition. If you feel it, believe it. This is not from what I heard, baby. This is what I know. And that is the tea. I want all of us. So my question to you guys here, I have one last question. Let's see here. I know, right? Going into the second topic, and this goes right into the second topic.
Hold on, TK.
Sure.
Because you all, and I saw George's comment, about marriage. And I
Sure,
just,
sure.
the last thing I said was about relationships. And I think that Dr. Venus maybe can attest to this as well. So can all of you ladies that are in committed relationships, I believe. I want to just be clear. People get into relationships for all the wrong reasons sometimes. So just because somebody's in a relationship and then they cheat, it looks horrible because, oh, they were in a relationship. They were married. That marriage was a facade. That marriage was a joke. That marriage was a sham in the first place. So it's bad when you at least are a part of a commitment to somebody, even if it's for the wrong reasons, then you break that. Obviously, that's a flaw in your character. But don't assume that because someone's in a relationship that everything should be good, everything should be taken care of. They're in a relationship. Well, apparently it wasn't healthy, it wasn't good, it wasn't fulfilling necessarily, and it might have been problematic, and they're in it for all the wrong reasons in the first place sometimes. So just this idea of relationships, many people are in relationships and they shouldn't be, and they don't have the courage or the security to get out of the relationship first, then have the relationship with the other person. So what do? They hold on to the one that they're in, and they go and establish a second one over here. And now when this one is getting going, and either they leave the person that they were with, or they wait till they get caught because they don't have the courage to do it themselves, and they have a fallback over here. So they lack that security and that sense of self in the first place to be alone. So they just jump from relationship to relationship, having all these ties and connections, whole nother road to go down. But just want to let you just share that the idea about relationships in the first place. It could be a problem and an issue with the relationship and why they're in a relationship to begin with. That relationship might not even need to be, shouldn't even exist in the first place. Like the relationship with Nia Long looks good on the surface, but maybe that's they're together for the wrong reasons. And he shouldn't even be with her, let's just say.
I could tell you, I've been in a long distance relationship before. And what happened was, because I was in one location and he was in another state, I can't fulfill his needs on a daily basis. And so he ended up cheating on me. And we didn't work out, of course, but I kind of believe, and I don't know what, like I told you, the only two people that know what happened in this marriage is Nia and her husband. But what I probably
they're not married. They're not married. They have a baby together.
Relationship or whatever.
I know some people say married, some people say spiritual marriage, long-term relationship, whatever it is. What I think has happened, she has been living in LA for 10 years. He lived in Boston. And I just wonder if it was that long distance relationship that another attractive
woman. It doesn't matter. That's what he signed up for.
It is what he signed up for. And it's what she signed up for. And you got to know what you're signing up for. I mean, you really got to know what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
You know the industry.
She didn't say, oh, you didn't fulfill my needs. That doesn't work.
No, I completely agree with you. Cindy, I see your face. Do you want to say anything before I wrap up this topic? Because I see your face.
No comment at this time. Thank you.
That damn Cindy. All right. Well, this is how I want to end. I want to sum up my thoughts behind all of this, and I want to share a video with you. Ryan, I agree with what you say. Cindy, Dr. Miller, and Shonda, we are all right. And like I said, and I'm still going to stick behind that. That's why you never, ever look for relationship goals in anybody's marriage. You don't know what they're going through when the doors are closed. You don't know what they are going through. Don't you ever compare yourself to anyone else, because you never know what they're going through. And like I stated, no one knows what was going on in that marriage except for Nia and her husband. I wish them well. She has never been in the limelight due to negativity or scandal like this, and my heart goes out to her. But I take it just based on her, what we know about her. I truly believe she was a good woman. And does she deserve this? A woman on her caliber just doesn't deserve that embarrassment and disrespect. But he has to live with that, right? But I wanted to share this video with you, and this is my word of advice to the
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the comments. They're giving Cindy props.
That's okay. I want to give a shout out to the men that are actually held accountable. Because Dr. Shonda, you brought this up. I hate to hear, if you don't cook for that man, he gonna find it somewhere else. If you don't sleep with that man, he gonna find it somewhere else. Baby, listen, I'm here to tell you, this is not what I know. Not what I heard. This is what I know. You're looking at somebody who gave somebody everything, and he still did what he wanted to do. I could write a book about it, and it could star in a movie. It could be a Tyler Perry movie if y'all knew my story. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter. It's up to the individual and where they are mentally. But one thing that I can respect Is a man telling me, I'd rather you tell me the truth than to go out and embarrass me
Right.
like this. I'd rather you divorce me than to embarrass me like this. And one thing that Shaquille O'Neal did, and I am someone that knows him personally, I saw him in his marriage with Shawnee O'Neal. One thing that I can respect this man for doing is saying that I had a good wife. I had a beautiful wife who gave me 5 children. And you know what, y'all? I messed that up. I'm living with regret. And now I have to watch her marry someone else and be happy. If you don't
I had the
believe me,
perfect
hear the
situation.
words himself.
Wife was finer than a mug. Kept giving me babies, still finer than a mug. I had it all. Just sometimes and I don't make excuses. I know I messed up. And then, when I didn't have that, I don't like to use the D word because I don't really know what it is, but I was lost. 76,000 square foot house by yourself. Lost. No kids. Go to the gym. Nobody's playing in the gym. You go to their room. Nobody's there. You start to feel it. And then as you're getting older and then you hear Shaq ain't Shaq no more. And then you realize Shaq ain't Shaq no more. You go from averaging 30 to 19 and, and then, but I said to myself, okay, you're not married, but you still have to protect and provide for this family.
That D word he's talking about is depression, by the way.
You on TK? TK, you on mute, babe.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
No, it went off. I think when the
okay.
video plays, it takes a minute or something like that.
That's okay. So I want to sum all of this up, and this is my message to men and women. When you're thinking about cheating, just ask yourself, is the person worth risking it all? So that's what keeps me in line. Is that person worth you losing your career and your family? Because cheating is a choice that we make. Don't
Absolutely.
blame the other person for what you want in life. Cheating is a choice, and all I can say is make sure you choose wisely. All right, Dr. Miller. Speaking of that, before we go into where Nia Long is right now, I want to start talking about healing. But before we go into healing, Dr. Shonda, you have a very important event this weekend. So I want to know from you
You know, Henry.
what is happening this weekend. So everybody, it's time to go to Shonda's Community Corner. Let's hear about this perfect and amazing
Oh,
event that you're going to put on this weekend.
Shonda's Community Corner.
Do-do-do.
That jingle's worth money, boy.
You know what I'm saying?
good evening, everyone. Again, so we are at our final stretch. This weekend is coming. We are 5 days away from the I Am Victorious Survivors Mall. Lord Jesus. I Am Victorious Survivors Ball. We are unmasking the domestic violence experience of male survivors. I also had a radio interview, and one of the questions was asked was, why did I choose to highlight male survivors? And it's because I want people to know that men are also victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault. But a lot of times, and more than not, they don't speak up about it. Our survivor balls that we have every year, is our third one. It's open to whomever. It's just that men never come forth. It's only always women. So we wanted to be intentional with making this about men and for men. So all of our facilitators for the event are males. We have Professor A.B. Ryan. We have Elijah Roberts, our MC. We have Circle of Brotherhood founder, Brother Lyle Muhammad. We have some male performers, and we have oh, he's so cute. We have we have all the people. We have a male star-studded panel to come and just make men feel comfortable with sharing their story, so they can come out and just feel free and feel like they are supported. We want to support them. Of course, we will be there. Women will be in the building as well. But just to give them that platform to share their story and say, hey, I was a victim, but now I'm a survivor. And I'm a man, and it's okay to share my story. So if you all still want tickets, we have a few more seats left. I believe probably 8 seats that we need to get rid of. If you don't want to come, how about just support, purchase a ticket, and let's give it to a survivor that wants to come. We have 8 tickets that we need to sell. If you want to send in a donation, you can go on our website, which is paying the number 2 purpose76.org. Let me put it up here for you. That is our website. You can go on there. You can purchase a ticket and then let us know that you're donating that ticket to somebody else. And we will have survivors that can come in and have that seat so they can hear stories as well. Please support our organization. After this, we are going on to our teen summit, but y'all will hear about that coming up. So for now, just coming up to our ball, please go on our website, paying the number 2 purpose76.org. Let's support the men in our community that want to come out and share our stories. Thanks. Share their story. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired.
That's okay. And we're going to be there. I will be in the building. Ryan will be in the building. Come out
Yes.
and meet your Talk Miami
Dr.
cast.
Venus Miller, you're gonna be in the building too, right?
Oh. She wasn't there when we talked about this, Dr. Miller.
Won't be there, baby. I'm at a concert that day.
Oh yeah, I think you did tell me that. It's
Yes.
okay.
Yes. So we will be in the building. Make sure you come out and support Dr. Roberts. Thank you, Dr. Shonda, for your community corner. Yes. So speaking of, and this is kind of wrap up the show with the last 10 minutes. Another topic that I wanted to talk about was actually healing. So we all, I think, have witnessed, and I think this is just universal. Everyone goes through loss. Everyone goes through heartbreak. Either it could be a death in the family, either it could be a divorce, or it could be a scandal like what Nia Long is going through. That's very traumatic. She is at a crossroad where she needs to make a decision. So I wanted to talk about healing because a lot of people, with hurt comes resentment, and resentment can turn into anger, and relationships can be torn. So to me, healing needs to take place. And so, but instead of me talking about healing, I wanted to bring on an expert, and that's why Dr. Miller is with us. So topic number 2 is, how do you heal a broken heart? And Dr. Venus, I just bring up Nia Long because she asked for privacy at this time. I've been through a divorce. Like you said, Dr. Miller, you've been through a divorce as well. We've been through hurt, and we know the shame, the betrayal that comes with that, the embarrassment that comes with that. But I can only imagine it being played out in front of the world. And she says the outpouring of love and support from family and friends and the community during this difficult time means so much to me, she said to TMZ. I ask that my privacy be respected as I process the recent events. Above all, I am a mother and will continue to focus on my children. So, Dr. Miller, what advice? We do know that you are a therapist. Where does a person like that start? What should be her focus?
Again, a loaded question.
So,
All right, let me start off personally. This is a process that I have been through. I am recovered from some things, but I am still in. And the first thing I want to share about healing, that it is a process. You can be healed from things while you're yet healing. Because in this life, we all at some point get traumatized by something. And once we are traumatized by that, whatever that thing is, we will find ourselves healed at some places, some people, and then healing. And then sadly, there are people that never heal, don't want to heal, they just want to stay still. So I wanted to say first, especially regarding my own testimony, I lost my husband it'll be almost 2 months now. And side note, Shonda, I think I said something to Shonda because people watch me. I'm just going to put myself out here. People watch me and they say, well, how is she doing that? Or that's not the way you heal. Or why is she not crying? Or if I be transparent with you, why is she still up? Why is she moving? Why is she not crying? You have all these questions in people's mind. And the first thing about healing, you must know that it is personal. And you personally don't need too much input because you're going to personally start to get impacted, infected, and all those things. Outside of healing itself, it is the input that I stopped. I stopped the input because I was getting everyone else's form of healing. And then again, you go into that whole mode of what It's the same pressure we put on each other. What does healing look like? And I will tell you, my husband was sick for a year. So my healing looks probably a little different than most people's. So my husband had been transitioning for a year. He had been going through cancer for a year. So I'm watching him. I'm healed, going through stuff, not in public. So sometimes you see a presentation of a person because you hear a story, oh, this person is sick, oh, this person, whatever. Our issue is we plant in our mind what we think healing should look like for that person. First of all, let me define healing. Heal defined to become healthy, whole, or well again after a cut, injury, infection, or sickness. To restore, cure, recover, mend, improve, treat, and be free from an ailment. And let me break it down for you a little bit. So at some point, something's going to happen to everybody. Death, whatever. All right. Correct? Correct. Because we are different people, we come from different cultures and different places. In my culture, they're like, okay, you cry, you do this, you do that, but what happens in the house stays in the house. From another culture, you put the coffin sideways. Another culture, you do this with them. And if I petition anybody else, help me the most in my healing process is first, I had to say that I knew that my husband was going to transition. I knew it. When he was, I don't know. But my healing may look different because not only was I aware of the transition, I processed the transition. I was here with the transition, and then the transition happened. All that time was a part of my healing. For me, people on the outside, because I presented on Facebook a one way, didn't know the transition. They don't know how many times I cried. They don't know how many times I still cry. Because that's the way I heal. You cannot take what you feel about healing and place it on someone else. All you do is give them more pressure. So for me, healing for me was becoming healthy. I had to become healthy in my mind. Healthy means I'm going to have thoughts in my head that my husband was here just yesterday. My husband would drive the car. My husband would take out the garbage. So that thought is not going to change. The truth is he's not going to take out the garbage anymore. So what am I going to do with that thought? A healthy thought is I may cry about that. I may be upset about that. But then I release that because the truth is he's not going to take out the garbage. In somebody that's not healthy, that same thought, like it did my brother for 50 years, totally devastated his life. He could not get the thought of my mother leaving here. And it cost him his life. He died a week before my husband died, my brother died. With that unhealthy mindset, the killer in healing is your mindset and how you treat. I can't tell somebody how they're going to heal. Some people take 6 months. Some people take a year. Some people take 10 years. Whatever it takes, I need you to continue your healing and process your healing and not get stuck. Stuck is where depression, anxiety, suicide, not living. We get stuck. You get stuck in the thought. I can think about my husband right now, what I did 2 years ago. I can think about my wedding, my marriage, everywhere we went. And so I had to change my mindset in that it is sad, but at the same thing, I pulled on the positive out of my healing. That's when my healing began. If it hurt, I cry. If it's funny, I laugh. If I need a moment, I take a moment. If I have to pray, I have to pray. And that has propelled me into this next ministry I'm dealing with, which is the healing ministry. It's nothing super spooky. I go to God, I pray, but nothing's going to change the fact that it's going to enter my mind every day. It is what I decide to do with it, what my definition of healing is. And you guys know, in any trauma, it's going to repeat itself. But for the time I'm here to the time God take me home, the thought of my husband leaving here, transition-wise, and dying of cancer is not going to change. But my life, in the healing process, I still have to heal. Healing does not mean that you're not going to cry again. Healing does not mean you're going to have those days you want to get under the truck and I need to be on the truck, I'm going. Healing means being real with you, real with your mindset, but moving forward so that you can be restored. You can recover. You can mend. You can live again. So I'm healed from some part of it, but I'm still healing. And be
Mhm.
okay with that and let nobody tell you how to heal. I hope
Yes.
that.
I thank you for that, Dr. Miller. Yesterday was my father's birthday, and Cindy reached out to me and she was like, "How are you doing, sis?" And I'm so glad you said that it's okay to cry. But then I wonder, because I'm crying, am I not healed or am I not over it? So I'm so glad you brought that up for people who have lost someone. Cindy, I know you lost a dear friend. What, where are you with your healing process and still processing that loss?
I think that I am. As I hear Dr. Miller talk about it, I want to say, pat on the back. I feel like I have a healthy mind about it. I cry. I was on tour when I found out, so I was in an environment that I was constantly moving. I'm emotional because it's been a. I lost another friend 2 weeks ago, so um, d- dealing with that loss as well. Incredible comedian, writer, producer, father, David A. Arnold, um, suddenly passed away a few weeks ago, and we a community mourns his loss and his family, and my prayers go out to his wife Julie and his two daughters and his entire family every day. But I think about the loss of my girlfriend who was my sister, and there are moments I told my castmates to treat me normal. I said, treat me normal. I'm gonna be here sometimes. I'm gonna be funny. I'm gonna still be myself. I'm gonna still laugh. I'm gonna still, give the show. But if I need to excuse myself to cry and have a sob moment, that's gonna happen. And thank goodness I was with people on this tour that understood that. And they did. They treated me normally. They didn't tiptoe. They still treated me the exact same, and I treated them the exact same way. And I would just go to another room if I needed to have a moment and have that moment. And I have them still. I'll be in the middle of a workout, have a full on meltdown, and deal with it, and then pick myself back up and go find something to eat, or, you know, make that phone call or get on that meeting and do what I need to deal with. It won't change the fact that she's gone. It, it just, you deal with it when it comes. And sometimes it takes you all the way down. Sometimes you got to pull the car over, and then you got to get back on the road and continue what you're doing, because we need to normalize grief. We
Yes.
need to normalize anxiety and normalize depression. You're like, hey, how you doing? Overall, I'm good. My health's good. My A1C is a little weird. I'm a little pre-diabetic, but I'm also dealing with a little bit of anxiety today. But I found
Yeah.
this really great shirt,
No.
and can't wait to go have dinner with my girlfriend. Great. So if we can normalize that, um, we could just be there as ears, and just listen. I was watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV, which is, I'm late to the game. The show came out 2 years ago, and we're in season 2, and I binge watched the entire 2 seasons about an American football coach being hired for a European soccer team, for an English soccer team, and he completely changes the internal energy of this soccer club, because based on his own traumas. And what the show does is, it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. First of all, it's hilarious. Secondly, it normalizes human feeling and human emotion, and sort of takes down toxic masculinity, particularly that happened in sports. And there was a moment where Ted Lasso's huddled up with his coaching staff, and he's like, "All right, guys, just real quick, just want to say this. I had a full-on anxiety attack before Game 7. That's why I couldn't make it." And they were like, "Okay, great, thanks for sharing." And then somebody shared something else, and somebody shared something else, and then they huddled and they did on three, boom, 1, 2, 3, go team. And then they went out and played the game.
Sure.
He felt like he needed to create a safe space, and it had to start from him because he was the leader. So it's like you teach people how to treat you. So
Absolutely.
when I'm dealing with my grief, I just tell people I'm dealing with, and they say, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Today's good. In an hour, I might be down."
You're keeping it real. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Ryan, I'm saving you for last because we're gonna have real talk for Ryan with the Ryan David. You're gonna close out the show. Shonda, I want to come to you because you and I talked about this before. For the listeners, if you don't know, Shonda has her own nonprofit, Pain to Purpose, and that was because of her own testimony. She is a survivor herself with domestic violence, and you get emotional when you talk about it. And I remember you told me, Shonda, that someone told you maybe you're not healed from it. How do you feel about that?
Now it doesn't bother me. Back then, I cussed, when I got mad, because how can you tell me what I'm healed from? I cry when I watch the news. I cry when I watch Lifetime. I cry when I watch because I'm human and blood runs through my veins, and I'm an empath. I cry about, and you know that, TK. You call me a
Yep.
crybaby. I feel so when I hear my own story, it makes me cry because I can't believe that I went through that. So when I'm sharing, I can hear you tell the same story and will cry. And it's been over 20 years. And yes, there are times I don't cry, of course. But if I see somebody in the room look like they about to cry, baby, you're not gonna cry by yourself. I am with you because I
Shonda,
feel
are you a cry ally?
I am. You need someone to
Bugs,
cry with you? I got
planes.
you.
You cry for
I
different reasons, though, Shonda. Too. You're not crying when it comes to what you've been through before. You're not crying because you're fearful it's going to happen tomorrow. It's not like that's not why you're
exactly
crying. It's an
right.
emotional response, but emotion doesn't relate to the trauma, particularly the experience that you had, and that fear, or that anxiety, whatever. So this whole idea of expressing an emotion means that you still haven't resolved the conflict, the trauma. Is
Exactly. So,
ridiculous.
and in learning that, Ryan, thank you. So, in learning that, I don't even have a problem with crying about it when I share my story because not only do I cry because hearing it, sometimes it does take me back and remind me. I still have triggers. I'm going to always have triggers for the rest of my life. There are certain things people can't say to me or do to me, and it snaps me right back into that situation. Then I have to talk myself. Okay, you're good. You're okay. Breathe. There's still things that trigger me. But also, I thank God that I'm not in that situation. I thank God that when he pulled that trigger, that bullet shot past me. There are things that I remember when I'm telling the story that I shout and praise God for because I could possibly not be here to tell y'all why I'm crying. So when that person told me that, I was like, I said, well, maybe, am I not healed? Why would they tell me that? I think I told Dr. Venus too, and I was so upset about that because how dare you tell somebody what they're not healed from? You could have knocked me back a few years by saying that to me. But I will say that same person came back to me and apologized because
Okay.
someone in their family had went through domestic violence and that she needed to be there for that person. She said, Shauna, I'm so sorry for saying that. And I apologize because I was wrong and out of line. And she had to understand because now she was in a situation and
Yeah.
she wanted to start talking about it. So a lot of times we say things to people trying to be extra deep and we end up drowning ourselves because we have to understand that
I like
everyone, Dr. Venus says, everyone does not heal the same way.
That's right.
We all have a different way of healing. As long as the main goal and the end goal is to heal. However, healing looks like to you, it's healing. I just lost my dad, and no, I'm not all you know
Right.
dramatic about losing my dad, but I still think about my dad is not here anymore. I can't go over to Freeport and see him on the porch, whether he's talking to me or not. I could go over there and see him. I can't do that anymore. And everything that I thought we could fix can no longer be fixed because it's final. So
Mm.
I cry because of that. I cry because could I have done something else, to help that situation? Could I have talked to him more? Could I have said things to him? So I'm still healing in that because I know I shouldn't have any guilt, but I still sometimes have guilt about it because I know that people in my life kept saying, Shona, go say something to him. And I was so mad with him for being mad at me that I didn't. So healing for me in that situation is just coming to terms with he's gone and there's nothing else you can do about it.
Mm,
That's
mm,
my healing to not blame myself anymore because I did do what I thought I was
mm.
could do at that time. So I thank you, Dr. Venus and TK for that question because a lot of people don't know how to heal. They feel like healing looks like what Shonda's going through, or healing looks like what Dr. Venus is going through. Your healing is your healing, boo.
Your
And
healing is your
however
healing.
that works for you, if that's crying, if that's shouting, if that's dancing, if that's singing, if that's running around the park, however your healing is, that is your healing. Just make sure you're consistent with it and you're getting your healing taken care of.
Yeah, and there's a difference between having. Sorry, TK, you were thinking
No, no,
there, and
no.
thank you,
I was going
Shonda.
to
You're right.
introduce you, but go
I
ahead,
was
Ryan.
gonna say that there's a difference between having a human experience, a human expression of emotion to a human experience versus suffering from something that you're healing from or that's still traumatic
Right.
and weigh you down. Like when Dr. Shonda Roberts tells her story, if I could cry from her story, why the hell would she not cry from her own story?
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
irrelevant
Right.
of the trauma and the experience and the healing. Like if it's a story worth crying about as a human being, why wouldn't the person who experienced it possibly cry? That crying or expression doesn't mean they're stuck or haven't healed yet. It
Right.
means that the story is traumatic and chaotic and abusive and horrible. And the thought of someone going through that at all is enough to bring you to tears, let alone the person who literally went through it. So the
Right.
big misconception about healing, like Dr. Vina started with, it's a process. Shonda, you talked about it. It's an expression, and however you express it, that's your process. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I could probably go off on more of a tangent, but that's important that both of you all pointed that out. It is a process, and there's a difference between having a human expression of emotion about something that makes sense versus being stuck, like Dr. Miller said,
Right.
stuck
Right.
where I don't want to move, or I haven't moved, or I'm fearful, or it still got me or gripped me. No, I'm moving forward and I'm making progress, and it's maybe at a different pace than someone else, but I'm moving, and that means I'm healing, and it could be a lifelong process. So
Y'all
I'm
not
sorry.
gonna
Those
get
are
me
my two
tonight. Y'all
cents.
got me last
Yeah,
Monday.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not doing
Y'all
this
got
tonight.
me. You know, when I
Not
talk
doing
about
this
my
tonight.
dad, yeah, and I think that everyone can relate to some type of trauma in their life. And the number one thing is that we all need to find ways to start healing. Because, like Dr. Miller said, you don't ever want to be stuck or angry at life and what life threw at you, because then everyone else around you will be affected by your anger.
Mm.
So it starts with you with healing. And so I usually end the show with my motivational moment, but I would love to end the show with the one and only, the Ryan David. Ryan, I would love for you to take us home, give us some real talk, whatever message you want to share with everyone. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, TK. And given the topics that we discussed tonight, I'll switch it up a bit. I had a little different real talk plan tonight. I was gonna piggyback on a little Greek where I went. There I am. I'm gonna come back. Here I am. Am I good there, TK? Make sure that I'm in the screen. I was I
Welcome
was
back.
I was going for a second. So I'll switch it up a little bit. I'll save my scheduled
Did he
program
go
for real
out?
talk. I'm here. Are you good, TK?
Oh, oh,
I think
oh,
she's on a delay.
dang. Oh, wait, let me bring him back in. I see him.
Wait, oh no, TK, he was there. What happened? I think you had a delay, TK.
Sorry.
I'm here.
Okay, sorry. Go, Ryan.
I'm here. I'm in the main screen. Is that cool, TK?
Just go ahead, Ryan. Leave it, TK. Don't touch it.
I think that's it. Are you good, TK?
Continue,
Shauna, do you
Ryan.
see everybody?
Continue.
Is
Continue.
she there for you guys? She's there.
Yes,
Okay,
she's
we're good.
there.
All right, yeah.
It's your time.
So all right. Real talk. I was gonna piggyback on something with a little Greek mythology. I'll save that for next week. A little lesson there. A little. I guess I want to just continue a little bit of the conversation here with a couple of points and maybe close some things out there, and maybe wrap this show up with a little closure. Pun intended. I can't stress that I piggyback what Dr. Miller said a little while ago about it's a process, and really talked about the importance of it. Now, I think Dr. Miller was really emphasizing and talking about talking about loss again, talking about that last topic, how to heal from a broken heart. A broken heart can be from a number of reasons. Dr. Miller, you were talking about from an experience of losing a loved one, lost to death. Shauna, you were talking about the betrayal and the trauma of somebody from abuse, and somebody really violating your personal rights and that sort of thing. When we talk about heartbreak or heartache, it can come from a lot of different places, but really at the end of the day, what we're looking at is a sense of loss, and that loss can be betrayal. That loss can be a sense of loss of someone else. But in general, I learned a little bit about betrayal and about loss and about why sometimes the heartache and the pain is so difficult to deal with. And the reason why is because in a lot of the situations that we experience loss and we experience the betrayal, especially, or something that we lose, it's we either lose a sense of ourself. I mean, that person that you lose is an extension of you. Dr. Venus Miller, your husband, was an extension of you. I mean, he was a literal everyday part of your reality. So there's that you have to now grieve and mourn, and you have to go through a process of trying to come to terms to the new reality, which is I got to take out the trash. That was not completely a part of my previous reality when this person was alive. They are no longer here. So that process is coming to terms with the concept and the fact that I've lost a part of myself and a part of my reality. I have to come to terms with that now, and that's a new reality. With betrayal, I learned from a psychologist and a clinical psychologist and a professor, and he taught me something about betrayal, loss, and this goes back to Nia Long. TK brought up, how do you heal from heartbreak, and what's Nia Long dealing with? And what he talked about with heartbreak from betrayal was, in that sense, what you have to do is you have to see that once someone betrays your trust, violates your trust, and betrays you, you have to see that person differently. Not only do you see that person differently, you have to see the past differently. You have to see your future differently, and you look at who they are right in front of you differently. Everything about your life in relation to that person gets questioned, because if they can betray you and betray your trust, that makes you think, okay, what else was a lie or was not the truth in the past? And what was I lying to myself about where I was going and what I had? And also, who am I to trust someone like that could do that to me? Everything, your reality is completely shattered when that happens. So you have to, from scratch now, reinvent, in a sense, a new reality with this person out of your life, and reevaluate who you are at the moment that you're in. So if nothing else, what I just pointed out there were a couple of examples of a process that is required depending on the type of loss or pain or heartbreak that you go through, a process that is very personal and very relevant for different reasons, depending on what the loss is and what the heartbreak is from. It is a process, and everybody's different and goes through that. So just some things to think about if you're out there and you're processing it. And I'm not going to get into the depths of the psychology and what's going on biochemically with the experience of it and the pain. And literally is a physiological experience and a biochemical change in your body, from neurotransmitters to hormones and fluctuations in that sense. We're responding to our brain's sense of loss as well. And that really can have an effect on our biochemistry. So it's very deep and very complex. It is a process. You want to get somebody to help guide you with this process, if at all possible. I'll piggyback on what Cindy said. She talked about normalizing having these severe experiences, like, say, a clinical anxiety that you're dealing with or struggling with from something, or depression and so on. I don't just want to normalize those things and conversations about them. I want to normalize getting professional help for them, and not just kind of chattering about them or using them as conversation pieces. It's deeper than that. Let's normalize talking about them so we can normalize getting people some resources and helping each other and facilitating the change that we need to see to overcome things and make some progress in that sense. So that's really the gist of what I wanted to piggyback on to save my talking piece for that conversation and that last topic. That's really what I wanted to contribute and I wanted to add, TK.
All right, so we're gonna TK's having a bit of a delay, so we're gonna go ahead and close out the show. Miss Cindy, can you tell our viewers where they can hear us, watch us going forward?
Always and every time. Thanks so much for joining us on this very special episode of Talk Miami, where we talked about some real issues. We all know we always got to come with the real stuff. Check us out on Facebook every Monday night and YouTube. You make sure you click the like button on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Talk Miami Talk Show on Instagram and Twitter. And if you're catching this podcast after our Monday Night Live, you can check us out at Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, at Talk Miami Talk Show. Yeah.
Thank you. I thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Dr. Venus Miller. It's always a pleasure to see you on here, but not at your house, honey. So, but y'all don't
You're gonna regret saying that, Shonda. You're gonna regret.
I know
saying
she's gonna get me in the morning. I have been working out with Dr. Venus Miller. Me and my aunt have been going, and I hate going, but I love feeling how I feel when I leave. But baby, they getting up in the morning, ain't nothing nice, and she's mean. Don't let the cute glasses fool you. She is mean, and she don't play the radio. But I appreciate her caring about my health.
Wait, go back. She don't play on the radio?
She don't play the radio. She don't play the
No,
radio.
no radio. You know, funny.
So you can hear your trauma screaming out and getting out of your body.
Yes. Yeah. And don't let us have to do weights. Oh my God. I hope we don't do weights tomorrow. Can we step tomorrow? We'll talk about it later. But anyway, I thank you all for tuning in. Cindy, I'm gonna push your song. Is your song on here? Let's play.
Reaction. Can you guys hear me or no?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I apologize, everybody. It is storming over here. I don't know where you guys are located, but I guess my Wi-Fi went out. So let's just end the show. Thank you, everybody. Dr. Miller, thank you for always joining us. The team, you guys know I love you. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. I want reaction. Where is our reaction video? But okay, that's all right. We're gonna use her other song. I just wanna love you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right, ladies.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Wanna live with you. I just wanna love you.
All right, good stuff tonight.
I wanna love you, wanna be with you, wanna kiss you.
Yep. There you go, everybody.